We have Enzo here today. How are you, Enzo?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I like the collection of the plates and that behind you.
No,
I reckon
thanks,
there's a
mate.
story in there themselves, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what at the end of the day, you sit here and you put the things around you that you use and part of your life, and yeah, that's I'm at home, so yeah, that's I suppose you're right. They're things we got when we were in Amalfi in the back in 2012, so it's yeah, it's part of our lives, our journey.
You have Italian heritage.
I do. I actually, yeah, both my parents were born in Italy and immigrated here in the 60s. So, but yeah, I was first generation Italian.
Where are they from in Italy?
Just inland from the Amalfi Salerno, from there about half an hour inland into the sort of mountainous area, small village called Mirabella e Clano, which is famous for a huge festival where they make this thing out of straw and timber. A Madonna, sits at the top of it, but it's something like 15 meters tall. It's insane, and so yeah, it's quite well known for that. But yeah, obviously, yeah, it was on the Appian Way there, and they were a big part of that whole history of food making and part of that whole Roman food production area. And obviously the coast was obviously an area that they went and holidayed as well. And so Pompeii and all that sort of stuff's close by, which is really quite nice. And yeah, I love the whole history of Italy and our heritage, which is awesome. Yeah.
It's interesting. You touched on something there, which
Hmm.
some people may have heard, but
Hmm.
they don't know the significance of the name, and that was the Appian Way.
Mm.
Yes. So, do you know the history behind the Appian Way?
Well, yeah, it was kind of the route that they took goods in from all parts of Italy, I suppose, and I think it went right down to the bottom near Basilicata, where it sort of joins the sea there at the bottom of Italy, and then went on to other routes around the southern part of Europe. But otherwise, it was just a road to Rome from the south, and then obviously to the north it was other areas. But yeah, I think that's as much as I know about it.
Yeah, no, it's actually very historically significant, and it was a route for change. It's a route for innovation, which is where the modern day company name has come from. But you can actually do quite a bit of reading on it. It's very significant. Have you ever thought about moving back to Italy or moving to Italy,
Oh,
should I say?
yeah, I think about it all the time because I feel I'm comfortable there. I feel like I feel like it's something within me that will happen. I'm hoping because there comes a time in your life when you may have more time to do these things. But definitely, yeah, it's on my mind all the time. And I just spent some time over there this year. Actually, I spent a month in Italy, and the more I'm there, the more I know I want to be there more. And it's just, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, you can't beat the amount of incredible history and food and culture and just way of life that's different, and it's inspiring, and I just think there's so much to explore and do, and you know life's too short.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. I hear you. So, where do you call home now?
I'm from Sydney, Lilyfield in the inner west.
Yeah, nice, nice.
Yeah, it's a lovely area.
Okay. So tell us a bit about yourself. What do you do? What's your sort of vocation of choice then?
Well, I'm a modular building salesman for a long time within multitude of different companies that manufacture and hire more portable structures and manufacturing of, modular buildings and that sort of thing is basically what I'm, that's my field of expertise and work. But I've got a multitude of different things that go on in my life, varying from artistic pursuits, from making music and having, like a fan base on Spotify, for example, that's quite good. And also a digital art presence as well, being online and all that sort of thing. So it's that's another part of my life that I really enjoy, and being part of some festivals in the last 15 years as well, where we're hosting cooking entertainment stages and doing all sorts of these types of voluntary and community type things that really bring people together and enjoy, the food culture. And there was some that were Italian inspired locally too that I got involved with to begin with, but then it expanded into other more sort of street festivals or even other cultural festivals of other different nationalities, like, Asian ones down in Chippendale and other ones around the King's Cross Festival. We did Crow's Nest Festival, which is more of just like a festival that represents an area, not necessarily an ethnicity. But at the end of the day, that's been a big part of my life, and a lot of the people in my community know me for that, because it's just been a big part of my life, and getting to know a lot of people in the area and the business owners, and within the council and the Chamber of Commerce as well at that level with these things, which is also awesome as well. And so that's been a big part of my life, as well as trying to juggle a family, 2 young girls now. That's my story there.
Okay, so I think the Italians epitomise the whole point of breaking bread. It's time. It's a social gathering. That's when everyone gets together and the family and so forth. So it still is the case that eating is the opportunity for people to get together and to communicate, get off your phones, and all that sort of stuff. But the Italians hit the nail on the head with that, I think.
We did, as a family, made it a sort of a rule that we had a dinner, and that was always the case, and even to this day, it's sort of such an intrinsic part of the way that our girls have been brought up, and how important it is to have that ability to just switch off, and even if it's for 10 minutes, but it's part of our lives for sure. And it's being lost, definitely. I think you're right. It's not done everywhere, obviously, and more and more people are just eating sort of on the couch or whatever, just pretty casually kind of thing.
I think
Nothing wrong with sitting around having a meal around a bar table. No, don't get me wrong. I enjoy that as well.
But I'm listening to you though. I think everything that you do as a passion play sort of revolves around that. So between Italy, the food, the family, the connection, in your case as well, the local business owners, the community, and so forth. But what was interested as well, you got some interest in Spotify and digital art. Okay, tell us a bit about those and if they can join.
I mean, it's just been a passion project since the start. Like I just I had a digital presence back in MySpace stage, essentially MySpace days, which I think went back to 2004 from memory, because it was discussed, even before this chat, but with other friends. But it was my sort of little outlet, you know, where I was being creative and drawing images with, you know, things like Photoshop editor and things like that, and manipulating photographs or making other digital kind of prints and stuff. And it just lingered, that sort of thing. I did that for a long time, and then, you know, obviously with the emergence of more better technologies and stuff like that, I just started taking that sort of to the next level, you know, with the ability to create incredible imagery and, you know, things of my passion, obviously. And that just evolved into music as well. I just found, wow, this is, you know, this is all interactive, you know what I mean? Like, I can create images, but I can create music around these images as well, and put a story together, and actually, you know, involve my friends and involve my, you know, family, and get them involved, you know, in the lyrics as well. And it's just, it's been fun to do that, and now see it sort of start to evolve into something that, it's weird, you know, like you never think about it until you actually put like some art into the world, that, you know, that you do something like that and it's out there and it exists, you know, and I just love that it's not like it's not like a thing that kind of, you know, someone can buy, you know, or whatever. It's just something that you either like or you don't like, you know what I mean? Like it's yeah, and that's what I like about it as well. But it's yeah, it's it's like a real requirement in my life to do it, because it's being creative and actually, you know, doing that stuff is actually like a real outlet for, you know, stress, and actually think, you know, not thinking about the stresses of your life and doing something to sort of, you know, keep yourself occupied or whatever. But obviously, you know, some people have the desire and others don't. But I've always had a real desire to be creative in whatever form, and that was, you know, as a kid, drawing and painting, and those were the things we did back in the day, you know. But that evolving into more using the digital technology we have today, and incorporating my ideas into those things now, and that's been a fun thing, you know. Without that, I don't think life would be any fun, you know. It was,
Okay, so
yeah.
listening to you correctly, obviously, when people have trials and tribulations, they have difficult times, challenging times.
Mm,
You know, the doctor's advice is to go out, and it's quite right. Get some exercise, eat well, sleep well. Da, da, da. We all know this stuff, so we're just being told stuff we already know. But I
mm,
reckon your advice would be to go out and be creative. Go and, you know, in any which way, whether you create a song, whether you write a book, whether you do a painting, whether you go digital, that would be
right.
your advice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's. I think there are other ways you can help people in society, you know, to overcome their anxieties and things like that, and that is through the arts, you know, through being creative, and through, um, you know, doing what you do in a way too. You know, I think is being creative. You know, so yeah, it's. I think everyone's got it in them. You know, they just got to find that passion that inspires them, that may, you know, inspire them to do something
Okay.
cool.
And
Mm,
you also mentioned you're into the modular homes and the
mm,
modular buildings,
yeah.
which I know has come on leaps and bounds of
Mm,
years. With you know, as we find in most societies, there's a housing issue, whether it be price or shortage. But I've watched this space. I've seen how it's come about, and its popularity, and how it's worked for people as an alternative option. Is that why you focused on actually saw a rising tide?
big time, yeah. Um, Obviously, you know, governments in the past couple of 20 decades, you know, 20, 30 years, obviously, haven't spent enough money on social housing, and there hasn't been enough focus around the requirements of that. And there is a huge shortfall, and you know, and being, you know, hit when we're being asked by defence and others, for assistance through various contractors, obviously, about whether or not we could provide temporary accommodations and things like that, because there's people losing homes, whatever. There's a requirement in that area as well, which doesn't exist, that could be talked about and have contingency plans and things like that. But at the end of the day, that's how my involvement got. I was involved in that at that level, but also, through that, finding out that what we did could basically provide the most easiest solutions to our crisis that we've got, and actually really achieve affordable housing that's affordable, not what's the current housing price is. You know what I mean? Within range of what the current salaries are, I suppose, and getting it back down to that 6% of, I think it's 6 times your salary or something that's acceptable, except instead it's around 15, which means it's not possible to get into the market, So that's a reason as well. But yeah, it is a massive solution, but the government doesn't seem to want to take it too seriously, and I think those mindsets are changing, which is good.
I think that's an interesting point that you made on the social housing, and people in different countries listen to this may not understand. We've got a different system in the UK, for example, but when we do talk about housing and specifically in Sydney, the social housing aspect is a forgotten conversation. And you're quite right that this is quite a good solution, but perhaps it's not something that they want.
Mhm. It's not that it's not what they want. It's just that essentially the developers control everything, and they unless you're a developer that does it and believes in it, then it's not going to. But it is changing, because I think people are starting to realise that the quality is just as good, and just in some respects even better, because there's been no damage done on site or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, I think that there is a lot of work to be done in the legislative area as well, around that, and also planning laws and stuff. It all needs to coincide together to make it work. But state, federal, and local councils need to work closer together as well for it to actually work. But essentially, it's the private sector that needs to drive it. But government can assist with those things that need to change for it to become more mainstream.
Okay. All right. So let's fast forward a bit of time in Enzo's life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're not quite on the Amalfi Coast drinking martinis and what have you not.
Mm-hmm.
What's in between? So we're looking forward. What's next for you, Enzo?
Just again, just trying to get into an area where we can actually provide solutions for for people with their homes, essentially, is a big focus, and that can lead into other areas for me too, into tourism and other areas that those types of accommodations are required. But at the end of the day, there's an opportunity for me to be present in Venice in the Biennale in 2025 for a presentation of what we want to do in modular, and then in 2027 actually build a proper structure in Venice. So we've been given that opportunity already. We just don't know if we're going to make it in time for 2025. But at the end of the day, it's there's some incredible opportunities for us to do that at the moment, and that this all leads back to my involvement in a scholarship that I was over there for during the last year, and it came about through some interactions and meetings we had with some people there in the European Cultural Academy and Cultural Centre, which are located in some of the palaces along the main island there. And so it was that integrated with our vision, not just for Australian kind of homes and homeowners. It could be adapted to any country, that's facing these problems, and so that's the big dream, It's like, so that would finish off the decade well, and then maybe just live between Italy, Greece, and that southern part of Europe for a while, and then travel into other parts of Europe while you use those places as a base, and then into Southeast Asia for parts of the year as well, just sort of living the Southeast Asian lifestyle that I really enjoy. But a combination of all those things would be ideal.
Sounds fantastic. I'm sold. Anyway, all right. Well, listen, that brings us to a close. Somebody listening to this, they'd like to make contact with you. What would be the best way for them to reach out?
Just through email, which is just a very simple email, which is the name of my artist name is essentially at gmail.com. So hunzanader@gmail.com.
Brilliant. Well, when this goes public, you can put this on your contact details on the bottom maybe as well.
Certainly.
That makes sense. And you
Certainly.
could maybe a sample of your work or something. That'd be great.
Definitely. I'll definitely do that.
All right, fantastic. Well, listen, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate it. And
Incredible.
It's good chatting with you.
Thank you so much, and appreciate the opportunity. And please, I'd love to catch up one day in person in the CBD and have a coffee. And good chatting to you.
Done. Fantastic.
Have a good day. Cheers, mate. See you, mate. Bye.
Thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you did enjoy it, had lots of takeaways from it. As before, please subscribe below so you can keep on top of any new releases we have. And also, if you would like to have your story told, just reach out with me and I'd love to give you that platform. My best email address is tom@purplepatchconsulting.com. Thank you.